Now, what I do find interesting is that when 30,000 Ukrainians sought asylum here in the city of Chicago, nobody said a mumbling word. But all of a sudden, indigenous people who are trying to get to a land that was robbed from them through colonization, they want me as a black man to be mad at them? You gotta be out of your freaking mind if you think I'm going to allow white supremacy to divide black and brown and indigenous people in the city of Chicago.
Ever since Trump came into his second term as president of the United States, he vowed to get rid of all the immigrants that the Democrats allowed to come into America. When Joe Biden was the president, they opened up the floodgates. They just opened up the borders and just allowed immigrants from everywhere just to pour into America. And as they were pouring into Texas and Florida and a lot of states in the South, they started to bust them up to Chicago, Sanctuary City, Chicago, New York City, Philadelphia, where I'm from, Los Angeles, right? And I did a video a couple days ago with Mayor Karen Bass, where she was providing housing and money for these illegal migrants that's in California, right? And a lot of the Black Americans and even Latinos are disgruntled. They're very upset. We found out that a lot of Latinos voted for Trump because they was mad at the Democratic Party for what they did for the Venezuelan migrants coming into the country, providing money for them and housing. Well, when these migrants come into America, they're being flooded into Chicago, but they're coming into the South Side, the West Side, where the black population live. We're being basically pushed out. Now, you have a homeless issue in Chicago, but for somehow, the mayor of Chicago, he has a lot of money being allocated to these migrants and housing. And the Black Americans have been very upset with this for some time now. Now, mind you that this man is a school teacher. He comes out of the Chicago school system. He's married to a black woman. So a lot of Chicagoans, which is very black, one of the blackest cities in America, voted for this man. They was 10 toes down with him. They was with him. He was talking about W supremacy and with all these things, all the unfair things that go on within the South and West Side of Chicago. But when he got into office, he did the total opposite. But let's look at some of the deficit that Chicago's going through right now. Check it out.
Public Schools just announced it's laying off more than 1,400 school-based employees. This includes 432 teachers and 677 special ed classroom assistants. CPS says this is part of its annual workforce planning and budgeting process. Historically, the district says more than 80% of impacted employees have secured new positions within CPS prior to the start of the school year. It's not known if the current $734 million budget deficit will impact that rehiring process.
Now, Chicago is $750 million in debt, but somehow they still got money for these migrants that's coming in. And they're going to lay off over 1,500 employees, 432 of them, including teachers. We know that Chicago is very, very, very crime-ridden. You know, the city, this West Side, South Side, North Side is very dangerous, right? And they have this large deficit that they're experiencing right now, right? The people in Chicago are very upset. They're very upset with Mayor Brandon Johnson because he's not fulfilling on the promises. What they're doing is allowing these migrants to come in to overtake the black population. The Democrats is allowing this so they can use the Latino community as a larger voting bloc to get the black people out of the way. This is the new way to go. And we can clearly see it all happening. Now, the residents there are upset. You know, the annual planning and budget and the way that they're supposed to spend money is not being allocated back to the community of the taxpayers. And they're very upset. So now they come into city council meetings and they're voicing their opinions and they're doing this.
Everybody know better than that. I see you, Anna Valencia, in your red. You know what it is. This is the second time you showed up in city council in red. You know what it is? Yeah. Yeah. So you and the rest of them that know what time it is, y'all come on. You leave that loser where he is. He's a loser.
Yep.
He's a loser.
Yep.
No, me and Zoe, we ain't doing nothing for nobody except for ourselves. We got you, loser.
Good afternoon. I want to know, how does it feel that Trump is in office right now?
Amen.
You see that? You see the Mayor Brandon Johnson? You underestimate us. You underestimate the black people, and you underestimate Chicago Red. We're the thorn in y'all side, and we're going to be the thorn on everybody else in this council member side too. Guess what? The worst news is Trump signed Matt Gaetz as the AG. Once he come in after you, going to sit up here and audit all this money that you've been spending on these illegals at the barbershop on the south side that didn't have no money so far from you and stuff. So why? I know what's going to happen. You're going to go down to the press conference, beat your chest up, and then you're going to talk all that smack. And then you're going to say, if a black man has not had the opportunity like a white man. But guess what? I'm a black man, and I don't see at you. I see through you. And I see the lies that you have been saying since you became office. We had enough problem with Lori Lightfoot, and now she's out because of racism. So when we vote you out, which racism are you going to address? White racism or black racism? You cannot figure out what the lesser of the two evil will be. So guess what's going to happen? You know that Trump had pulled 45% of the voter in the state of Illinois, 37 in the city of Chicago. That's the statistic. That means that Illinois is turning purple. We're going to turn red. And for some of these city councilmen member, I warn you, do not sit with Brandon Johnson. We're going to get them seats.
14% rating is what you appear to have, Brandon Johnson, across the United States for how they see you. But 14% rating. Now, I'm going to talk about all those known donations of $11.5 million that came from places like the CTU, the SEIU, the American Federation of Teachers, Illinois Federation of Teachers, and then someone got the nerve to get on there and talk about cutting their pensions. What about our real estate? Because, see, we paid for these properties for...
So as you can see, the one brother, he said you like to get up there and talk about W supremacy, but what about black supremacy and what you're practicing? Because your people was telling you that we're not happy with what you're doing. We take umbrage with what you're doing. We're very upset, right? It's going on deaf ears. You're blatantly just ignoring. So now you see the numbers in Chicago who voted for Trump and no longer voting Democrat. It's still not working. You're still not listening. So we know that you was never really for us. You was for what you wanted in your family, and you're pushing the Democratic agenda. I don't care about the Democrats or Republican, period. I think black people need to have their own agenda in America because both parties have historically failed the black community. At one point, we was Republicans, but while we were Republicans, they were still allowing the Democrats or the Dixiecrats to still do the things that they done. The federal law did not enforce state law. So things that was happening to us like redlining, not getting proper insurance through insurance companies, right? Eminent domain. This stuff happened under both parties. So black people have no allegiance to the Democrats or Republicans. That's the way we should be thinking, but we're not because we're like robots programmed. We have a bad virus. So I often hear whenever Democrats do something that we don't like, oh, it's them Democrats, you better go Republican, as if Republicans are somebody we should be running to. All of these people have been historically racist to our group. But there's a lot of black people from Chicago that are very upset, and they've been voicing their opinion for some time, not just in city council meetings. Check this out.
Governor Pritzker, just in the 2025 alone, the budget he spent for illegal aliens is $2.5 billion. Governor Pritzker has spent and is planning on spending $2.5 billion for illegal aliens alone just for the year 2025. We've been trying to warn you all. These people do not care about the citizens, the American citizens, the Illinoisans, or Chicagoans. They don't care. We're bankrupt, but what do the administration do and your aldermen? They make sure they voted to give themselves a raise, all while still lining their pockets with our money and spending it on our replacement.
Do you know between the years of 2022 and 2025, Chicago was projected to spend $2.84 billion on asylum seeker assistance, $619 million in 2023, $773 million in 2024, and $629 million for fiscal year 2025. Did you know that Chicago's public school system is the third largest public school system in the nation? Well, I guess you do now. Now back to my math is mathing. If you were to take the money that they spent on asylum seekers, whether it was housing, whether it was healthcare, or whatever, you know, they probably wouldn't have to lay off 1,400 public school employees.
I will say this to the black people of Chicago, the black people of Philadelphia, the black people of Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, New Orleans, New York City. Let this be a lesson. If you guys don't learn nothing, you won't. What are the black communities going to look like by 2035? I know in those churches, they telling you to be Democrat. You're mad because you voted for the wrong person. Now Trump is in there and Trump is a racist. Let me tell you something. If you think Trump is the most racist president we ever had, you're crazy. You're crazy. We're black people in America. We done survived Truman, LBJ, Taft, so many of these, Andrew Johnson, so many of these darn presidents that we done survived. And you're talking about Trump, Eisenhower, all of them throughout the years. We got a whole story, and history is the best truth teller of what we've been through here. So now you're mad because Kamala didn't get in office, so you're overlooking the actual things that we're supposed to do for our communities, man. For our communities. So what's the pros and the cons? Okay, Trump is a racist, but if he's a racist to your face. He's not even hiding. He's honest about it. He's not the one putting his arm around you, making you believe that he's your friend, but while at the same time he's sticking something in your back, right? Where we watching the Democrats act like they are our friends, but they're actually pushing us out. Dr. Claude Anderson warned us about this. We're becoming a third and fourth class citizen. Our voting block is shrinking because they're allowing these other groups to come in while you're disgruntled and screaming about it. It's going on deaf ears because they're going to use them as a larger voting block to push you out. So now, what is Black Philadelphia going to look like by 2035? What is Black Chicago going to look like by 2035? You see what they're doing to the schools already. We got a church on every corner. We've been voting Democrat, but look at our communities. Look at our communities. Look at the condition of our black boys and our black girls. When are we going to wake up and start really asking the questions? Where are we as a people? When are we going to reevaluate? When are we going to do it? Listen, man. At some point, what is Black Memphis going to look like? What is Black Atlanta going to look like? We already see what New York and Los Angeles looks like. Those were the templates 20 years ago when they started to gentrify these places. Now we see what it looks like. That's what Black Philadelphia and Chicago is going to look like. I just named four of the fourth largest cities in America. What are they going to look like? So they do that to these other cities. What do you think? If they do that to these big cities, what do you think your city going to look like going forward? Come on, man. Y'all got to wake up, man. Just because you got a black face in the place don't mean that they for us, man. They play for the other team. We don't got no friends. Either we going to get it right or we ain't. So miss me with all that pro-black, B1, black stuff if you ain't willing to be proactive and put the work in. Because I'm asking the question, and I notice when I ask it, nobody answers this in the comment section. What are our communities going to look like by 2035? What are our cities going to look like by 2035? I need an answer. I'm going to cut this video short. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.